Once upon a time, there was a nation called Pattanam. In that village, there lived a king named Veerasimha. For the past 2 years, the nation had been struck by a crime epidemic. All the people who were living in the nation were afraid of getting robbed, as it was a frequent occurrence in the nation. Because of this, few wealthy businessmen had a meeting with the king to explain their concerns.
My king, all of us are extremely afraid as we feel that our wealth would be stolen away from these thieves. This has been a repetitive occurrence in our nation. You must help us to solve this problem.
Our nation has never had this problem before. I will make sure to do the best I can to stop these thieves from stealing from you.
My king, the reason why this is occurring is because several thieves and robbers are entering our nation from the neighboring nations. They are actually migrating to our nation to steal from us.
Why is that so? Why would they come from other nations to our nation just to steal? This is a very peculiar situation.
Apparently, there is a man named Krishnappa in the neighboring village, and he is the grandson of the man who wrote the Chronicles of Thievery. In that nation, nobody is able to steal or rob anybody whatsoever, because this man named Krishnappa is able to completely solve the puzzle of finding who the criminals are, and he has a way to imprison them.
Is that so? Is our men any less than these charlatans? We can do what Krishna did, and we can do it better. I will not let a single coin be stolen.
What is so interesting is that these men are not only good at finding the right victims and executing their plan. These men are also very good at making sure that they don't leave a trace of evidence. And once they do the robbery, no one is able to find them. This is the reason, my king.
The reason why you are unable to find them is because you think like a businessman. But what you have to do is to think like a thief yourself. When you put yourself in their shoes, you would be able to get all the ideas that they have.
So, what you are trying to tell me is that in order to fight fire, you have to be fire yourself? This seems like a very great idea, my king.
Yes, you are right. We have to fight fire with fire. I will disguise myself as a thief, and I will find this man myself and put an end to their wrongdoings.
I don't think they are going to stand a chance against your majestic presence.
The king then travelled outside of his palace to find these thieves every single day in a disguise. He makes sure that nobody can suspect him to be a king whatsoever. One fine day, as he kept roaming around his nation in a disguise, he sees a small cave. And in that cave, there were 3 robbers, Ganga, Junga and Panga. The king went nearby to these men and heard what they are talking.
Finally, we have escaped from our kingdom, which has Krishnappa spoiling our stealing profession. We can now execute our plans and steal a lot of money in this nation. Well, I'm not so sure about that yet. We barely escaped from Krishnappa, and now you are asking us to start stealing from another nation. What if we get caught again? We wouldn't be able to survive also this time.
Yes, I agree with Junga. What he said is absolutely right. We can't be taking any risk right now. We can steal a little bit here and that just to survive. But if we have to steal a huge amount to come out, we need to be patient.
Both of you are absolute cowards. Just because Krishnappa was able to catch us doesn't mean that we will get caught every time. We made several mistakes prior. All we have to do is make sure that we don't make the same mistakes twice, and no one would be able to catch us. We have literally moved from one nation to another nation where nobody knows us and nobody expects us. If we don't immediately execute our plan and steal huge amounts of money, then we would not be able to survive in this nation.
The king, who was eavesdropping the entire conversation, gets closer to all these thieves. As soon as the thieves look at the king in disguise, they are absolutely shocked. Ganga looks at the king and says like this.
Hey, who the hell are you? And what are you doing here? How did you come here? Have you heard each and everything I said? What do you want from us? Come on, man, who are you? Tell me.
Instead of catching these 3 thieves then and there, the king decides to join them and see how they are stealing to give awareness to his vulnerable civilians of the nation. The king looks at Ganga and says this.
Listen to me, brother. I am a fellow thief myself. I am not from any other nation. I belong to this nation myself.
So, you heard exactly what I said. So then tell me what you want to do with us.
Sorry, brother. I overheard all of you talking about stealing several amount of money for yourself. I just thought that I could join you and we can be partners. I have been searching for your gang for several days in my nation, but I am glad that I was able to finally meet you. I would like to join your gang. Please accept me.
That is a great idea. Since you are a person who has already lived in this nation for a long time, it would be beneficial for us to collaborate to steal more money. But I also want you to know one thing, that each of us are in this gang because we all possess a special talent. So, do you have any such talent? So come on, what kind of talents you have?
I do have a talent, but before, may I know what your special talents are?
Okay, my name is Ganga. I am the leader of this gang. I am an individual that can break any locks that are there in this world. All it takes for me to break a lock is a simple small pin. I am Junga. My special talent is that I can put my ears to the ground and know exactly where the jewelry is. Just like a farmer can put his ears to the ground and know where the water is, I can sense wherever the jewels and the money is. This is my specialist talent.
The talent that I possess is the ability to find out who is the real human being and who is the imposter. I can spot an imposter a mile away. I can see the way they dress and the way they speak, and I can figure it out if you are pretending to be someone that they are not.
After listening to all these talents that these men had just said, the king becomes very impressed and also surprised. The king then thinks of something and doesn't know what to say, and then looks at them and says this.
My dear brothers, the talent that I possess is that I can end a man's life by just pointing a finger at him. And also I can save another man by doing the same action. I am blessed with the power of destruction and the power to give life. This is my talent.
After listening to what the king said, none of the thieves were able to understand anything. Ganga looks at the king and says this.
I don't understand the thing you just said. How is it that you can end the man's life with just a finger?
I will show you exactly what I mean by my talents at the right time. By the way, come on, where exactly we are going to make our first robbery?
Why don't you tell us, since you are already an inhabitant of this nation? Do you have any place in mind? So we can go and steal there itself.
We can just steal from the king's jewelry. There's a lot of jewels in the king's palace and we can steal from it right away.
Have you lost your mind? What is wrong with you? If we get caught, come on. We will definitely get the death penalty. This is too risky for us.
There is no risk whatsoever. I have been planning this my entire life to steal from the king's jewelry. Because I was a single human being before, I wasn't able to execute my goal. But now since I have all of you as my teammates, and since all three of you are mentally talented and gifted in the skill of robbery.
What are you saying is true. We should not waste time. Let us make sure that we can get the most out of our opportunity.
All four of those men start traveling towards the palace to steal from the jewelry treasury. The king found a way to bring the three thieves without making them get caught in the eyes of the guards. As the king and the thieves were nearby the palace, Kamon Junga puts his ears to the ground and says this.
Look here. I can sense the jewelry being this way on the right side.
After hearing Junga's intuition, the king is quite surprised and impressed by his skill. The king looks at Junga and says like this.
My friend, I thought you were just baffling when you told me about your skill set will stop. But I am quite impressed of how you actually know where the jewelry is. What you told is right.
Let us stop complimenting each other and let us get to work. Now we'll also see Ganga's special talent in thievery.
Ganga stands outside of the door of the jewelry, which is locked with a big heavy lock. He takes a tiny little stick and opens it with ease. The king gets even more impressed and shocked, and he looks at Ganga and says to him like this.
How is it possible that you were able to open such a heavy lock with just a pin? Is this a case of the locks being so weak?
It is not the fault of the lock. It is just the skill set that Ganga possesses. He is very much efficient in opening locks.
Can you just wait outside and make sure that nobody enters this vicinity as we three go inside and steal as much jewelry as we want? I shall wait outside for you guys to steal as much as you want and come back.
Sure, friend. Please wait for us. We shall come back very soon. Come on, we go.
Ganga, Junga, and Panga, all three of them, go inside the jewelry treasury and start stealing. Meanwhile, the king goes back to the palace and tells his minister everything that had occurred until then. The king then makes sure that all the three of them are arrested immediately and put in prison. The thieves are arrested and the money that they stole were taken away from them. The next day, all three of the thieves are put in front of the king. As soon as Bunga looks at the king, he says this:
My friends, we have been wronged. We have been cheated since the beginning. This man was the same man that came to us yesterday and pretended to act as a thief. He is actually a king that disguised himself as a robber to catch us.
I know and I understand, Bunga. I don't know why this is happening to us constantly. We put ourselves in very silly trap that we could have prevented. Whatever happens from now onwards is something that we deserved.
After a while, the king kept looking at all these three thieves. The king looks at them and says this to them:
These were the thief that was stealing from the wealthy businessman from our nation. Since I was a personal eyewitness to all of your activities, we would not be needing any investigation whatsoever. I immediately sentence all three of you to the death penalty.
After hearing the King Veerasimhan's judgment, all the three thieves were extremely upset and sad, and they have no words to say at all. The next day morning, they were immediately taken to the death chamber in the palace and made to stand in the hanging floor. The King Veerasimhan was watching the execution from his palace. As all the three thieves had their hands tied to their back, one of the guards looked at the thieves and says this:
Following the command of the king, we are about to give you the death penalty. Do you have any last wishes whatsoever? My last wish is that I would like to ask a simple question to the king. That is all I want from now.
After listening to what Ganga had said, the king says,
Even though you men were thieves, you all had a lot of talent. You had skill and expertise that I have never seen before in my life. Instead of using these skills and expertise for the benefit of the people, you had used it to destroy and steal from the people. So tell me now, what is your last wish?
My king, I have no excuses, but I would like to tell you that we did not get into this stealing business for fun or for glory. We started doing this business, we barely had any money to eat. But after we started doing this, it felt good and we continued it. My last wish is to see you and use your talent. You had told me that you have the power to save another man's life with just a finger. I would like to see you that power. That is my last wish.
After listening to what Ganga said, the king gets even more impressed. To see these thieves use their wit and intelligence even when they are about to die impresses the king very much. The king then uses his finger to signal the guards to stop the execution from taking place. All the three men were untied and they were appointed to the king's palace as servants to help the king and to be beneficial for the nation and its civilians. If you like this story, do like it, share it. For more news stories, please subscribe our New Stories Book English YouTube channel.